Yo, what's up, LA Sparks fans? It is that time. It is the home opener for your Los Angeles Sparks as they are going to be taking on the Minnesota Lynx. But you're coming off of a win. They started things off the right way, and we're going to talk about it. I'm Michael Matthew with the one and only DJ Treasy Trees here with LA Sparks Weekly. DJ, so the Sparks come in feeling good. They were able to pick up an 84-67 win over the Valkyrie. What type of momentum do they bring in today for this game? Big game versus the Lynx.
We're going to have to come out fast and hard the first two quarters with this team. The Minnesota Lynx are notorious for taking advantage of defensive schemes, yo. They will take that ball from you, so we got to make sure we take care of the ball, and make sure that we have that offensive plan. I think we're in a good spot. I think this is going to be one of those blockbuster playoff pre-games, okay? Pre. You see, I keep talking about the playoffs, but seriously, the team that we're playing today was in the WNBA Finals. They didn't make it, but we have a great chance to see how we can compete with the best of teams.
They lost by a foul, so they're a team that a lot of people are picking as their
and they
favorites.
Probably mad.
But yeah, super mad, so they're going to be ready to play. But the Sparks, Kelsey Plum is coming off of a 37-point performance. All eyes are going to be on her tonight in her home opener with the Sparks. What are you looking forward to with Kelsey Plum with this matchup tonight?
I think she's going to go 40. I'm thinking it's going to be a 40-piece, and I know that the Minnesota Lynx are going to have it out for Kelsey Plum, but I got that faith in Plum Dog. I think that the rest of the team is going to rally behind her. This is going to be an athletic and very fast-paced game. Not only talking about Nafisa Collier on that side, but you got Elisa Peely, who Coach Lynn has actually coached. Who else we got over there? Diamond Miller. There are so many rainmakers that are happening there. Kayla McBride is not playing, so that's to our advantage today on the Minnesota Lynx side, but I know that the Sparks are going to show up and give us a good game.
And Kelsey Plum is going to look to continue to stay aggressive. Last game, you saw her very free-flowing, looking a lot like herself in college, where she's able to have a super green light to do her thing. So shout out to Kelsey Plum. But with no Ray Burrell, who's out 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to get more minutes for Sarah Ashley Parker. She did some solid things there in the opener. You saw some jitters. But tonight, Coach, we heard from her, and she said, hey, she's somebody I trust, the veteran trust. She's going to be ready to go. What are you going to be looking for who Coach called SA?
Hey, SA, I love your nickname first and foremost. But secondly, I was here super early, y'all. I got here 3 hours before the game. She was out here working out. She was in the bleachers with a dumbbell. She was out here getting shots out, doing stuff with resistance bands. So, SA, I know you got us tonight. I'm looking forward to her and in her first rookie game getting double digits today.
Yeah, doing her thing, playing well. We know that De'Erica Hamby,
double monster.
The Sparks All-Star last year is going to be going up against Nafisa, which is going to be a great matchup. She had her moments in the opener there. I know that she is going to try to come out and play big time tonight to pick up this big win. What can we expect from De'Erica Hamby? And not just De'Erica Hamby, but Azarae, Mercedes, and the other bigs.
I think our starting five are all going to be in double digits. I think Rakia Jackson is going to find her way to double digits very early because of that momentum, because of that athleticism. You always can bet on De'Erica Hamby. When all fails, know that she gonna get a double-double, okay? So I'm looking for a lot of that from her. I'm looking for Azarae to come with that three-point ball, but also give us some defense. I think Azarae gonna come with some blocks and really put some pressure on the Minnesota Lynx.
And you mentioned Rakia Jackson coming off of the big freshman year here, year number 2. Big things that people expect for her. A lot of people's favorite for most improved player. So people expect to see a jump for her. We saw a little bit in that first game, but we want more.
So much more.
So what can Rakia do tonight to kind of take a step forward from what we saw in game number 1?
I think Rakia got to get buckets. Rakia just got to be Rakia. She knows how to score on the 2. Coach in the press conference was talking about her scoring that mid-range game. We know she can shoot that 3 ball. There's nothing that Rakia Jackson can do wrong. I think if she continues to just be herself and flow with the offense that Coach has given them, man, I would be shocked. This is going to be a close game today, y'all. At least a 15.
They're going to need it because this is a tough Lynx team. A lot of people's favorite to win it all this year. But
not my favorite.
What we do like last year, we got to pick that player we think that's going to ball out and do their best to help the Sparks pick up this win. DJ, who is it for you in the home opener for the Sparks?
I think because of the matchup with the Minnesota Lynx, my player of the game before the game is going to be De'Erica Hamby.
Okay.
Because of her ability to rebound, spread the ball out with her teammates and get some assists, and also just put some buckets in there for us. So I'm picking De'Erica Hamby.
I'm going to go with the cheat code. I think it is going to be KP. Kelsey Plum is like, I told you I started last game. The MVP run for Kelsey Plum.
Yep.
It continues today. I expect a big game for her. Everybody talk about Caitlin Clark. Y'all better look out for Kelsey Plum. She's going to go crazy.
Before we go to the rest of the show, y'all, I want to give you a quick fact. In the home openers, Nafisa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx scored 34 points, tying the WNBA record for most in a season opener. By the end of the night, Kelsey Plum had already broken that record. So that's just what I'm just leaving right there. That's the one fact that we're going to lean on today.
So it's going to be a great game. The energy is already great. It's, like you said, it's feeling like a little playoff here.
Yeah, early.
In here, so I'm excited. Game number 2 for the Sparks, a home opener. They're here to make you excited. Michael Matthew, DJ, LA Sparks Weekly. We see you after the game.
The Minnesota Lynx have done a great job just in the past couple years building up their franchise. Came a little bit short in the finals. From your perspective, how are we measuring this game and our competitiveness around the league going against the Minnesota Lynx in the home opener?
Yeah, so much respect for them. I love watching them. I have a former player on the team, so I've been watching them, studying them. Went to their some of their practices last year when she was a rookie with Alyssa Peely. So. Cheryl's the matriarch of this league at this stage, and she does just an unbelievable job. Olympic coach, all the things. So, a lot of respect for them and their franchise and what they've, it's one thing to win, but to sustain winning is really hard, and they've done it. They've retained their players and all the things. So today, for me, it's one of, 43 games left. So. I'm very process-driven, and so we're just focusing on today and getting better at the little things from Golden State, and we happen to be playing one of the best teams in the league. But home opener, great opportunity for us. These are the games where the pressure is more on them than us, and those are fun games.
Thank you.
Potentially.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on Friday.
Thank you.
Charlotte Moore with FI360 News. You just mentioned about Coach Reese being the matriarch. What is something that you have watched and seen her over the years that you, I know you're your own person, but that maybe you like from her or learn from her?
Yeah, and she's been great with me. I have a connection with her just from them drafting Peely, and so she's been a good resource for me and just again a lot of respect. The one thing I really do have appreciated watching her is just the accountability she holds her players to. They play hard, they play together, they play unselfishly, and to do that you've got to have a coach that really holds you accountable and maintains the team's culture. So I think that's the one thing I would say right now.
Hey, Coach. Jackie Ray TV. This is more of a general question for the league. Last year we had an influx of some racism and homophobic fans, and now this year the league started the No Space for Hate campaign. What does that mean for you? Why do you think it was necessary, and what do you want fans to take from that?
Well, I think there is no place for it in our league. I think this is a diverse league. It's a league of predominantly African-American women, and we need to be a space that's safe and that empowers everybody. And I think, there's a lot of eyes on our league right now, and we need to make sure that we're carrying that banner with seriousness, right, and sincerity. So I think it's a great campaign, and I hope that our fans and fans everywhere understand that, these guys are competitors, and they are, professionals, but they're also human beings and moms and all the things, and there's just no place for the hate. There really isn't, and I hope that people get behind that.
Hey, Coach, Mike Matthew, LA Sparks Weekly. So you lose Ray for 6 to 8 weeks, so that means more opportunity for Sarah Ashley. Just what did you see from her in the opener, and what kind of things have you guys done to prepare her for this moment today?
Yeah, we call her SA, so I'm going to say Sarah Ashley, SA, get it? Yeah. So SA's done a tremendous job. She came in prepared. She was ready as a rookie, and there's still a learning curve, but her mentality, she's tough, physically and mentally. She'll look you dead in the eyes and be like, yep, yes, ma'am. Like, she's that type. So you can get on her, you can challenge her, but her mentality, she was ready. So yes, maybe her minutes are going to be a little bit expedited in terms of our need for her now more. But I have so much confidence in her. She's always in the right place. She understands what we're trying to do on both sides. So she's not making those mistakes of, mentally not being prepared. She's mentally there. It's just going to be a matter of her just getting experience in minutes. But what she can bring, she's a really good shooter. She's understandably was probably a little nervous the first game. But she can shoot, and the cool part is that our veterans have a ton of confidence in her, and we're going to need her.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Nikki Kay with Spectrum Sportsnet. One game of intel under your belt. How would you like to see the first 2 quarters play out in terms of taking steps forward, closer to your vision of basketball?
Yeah, I think, as I have said, and I don't mean to be a broken record, but everything is new, right? And so our coaches are new. We have a lot of new players. And then the system that we're running is new to everybody. And it's not a system that's super black and white. There's a lot of nuance and reads and freedom. There's structure, but there's freedom. And those things just take time. It takes on-court chemistry time to get there. And so I think, there's been really good moments out there and then some moments of like, what are we doing, right? And in my experience as a coach, that's every first few games. You always feel like that. And it's, but at some point it clicks. Today, I'd like to see us execute better. We just need to be able to execute out of timeouts, execute if they go zone, just be a little better in our execution. But, it's all right.
Coach John W. Davis with the Southern California News Group. What challenges do you feel like the Minnesota Lynx are going to present to you in this game? And then, with that in mind, in general, how do you want to overcome that?
Well, I can't give you all my secrets, John, but they're good. I mean, they're predicted to win it in a lot of the spaces. They've got arguably the best player in the world in Nafisa Collier, and she is unbelievably good. Her motor is, she just never stops. But, they return all 5 starters from a team that could have, should have almost won the championship. And so, the beginning of their training camp, I'm sure, was very different than ours in terms of where they were at versus where we were at in terms of teaching and all that. So I want us to compete. How are we going to, we got to just, you can't let someone come in and play harder than you on your home court and expect to win when they're already expected to win, quote unquote. But it's early in the season and, we're focused on ourselves and we have a scout, and all the things, and we're going to be really dialed in, but I'm really focused on getting our players a little bit better every time.
Coach, Kelsey Plum had a historic, debut, 37 points, played the entire game. Is that kind of usage and, minutes played for Kelsey Plum kind of what you expect this season?
No. But, losing Ray after 41 seconds, we were down to 4 guards. But I will say, Kelsey's fitness and strength and conditioning is otherworldly. So I don't, she told me after that happened, like, hey, I can play 40. Take me out if I'm doing something wrong, but don't take me out because you think I'm tired. So I know she can play 40. If there's situations like there were at Golden State where she needs to, she will and she can. But ideally, no. That's not the best case scenario moving forward.
Hey, Coach. Sirat Sohi from The Ringer. Hey, so you've got a player in Rikia Jackson who has incredible potential to become a 3-level scorer and is a great mid-range player. I'm curious, with your kind of analytically driven approach, how you approach development with her. Is there a balance, or do you want her to be taking those shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot, and it's a great question. My big thing with the analytics is everything is driven by what's the best shot we can take. and best explained by points per shot attempt, points per possession, true shooting, all those kind of things. So if Rakia is taking mid-range and she's getting over a 1.2 on her points per possession, take them all night. Like, if that's a great shot for you, take them. It wouldn't be a great shot for me. I don't know that any of them are, but for her. But again, where you take a mid-range matters too. Like, it's proven statistically, men, women, whatever. If you're taking a mid-range in front, where the hoop's in front of you, it's a much better shot than when you're on the wing. Like, so it's getting her to understand those. But she is a talent in the making. We all can see it, and I want to give her as much freedom and confidence that she needs to reach her potential within the structure of what we're trying to do. And she's learning that, and she's bought in, and so I think the sky's the limit for her.
Hi, Coach. Miriam Swanson with him, Southern California News Group. Wanted to ask about Ray and just sort of how she's doing, what you can tell us, and just how she is.
Yeah, she, that was a bummer. And she had, like 4 or 5 days of just, we talk about stacking days where she was ready and had kind of bought into her role and come off the bench and be a spark and be an athlete and get it going defensively. She was ready to roll. And, it's just sometimes life sucks and bad things happen, and in sports injuries happen. But, I spoke with her yesterday for a long time. She's okay. She's okay. I think it could have been worse. We were all worried it was going to be worse. So she'll be back and expected to make a full recovery in, 6 to 8 weeks. So we're grateful about that. It's just unfortunate, but it's part of it, and next man up.
Going to Zoom, Marty Gallner.
Thank you. Hi, Coach. We're the Minnesota TV broadcast. You brought up Alyssa Peely's name a couple of times. I'm wondering, when you were at Utah, what parts of Alyssa's game did you really appreciate, and what parts of her personality did you appreciate?
Yeah, I'm still close with Peely. She's just an incredible human, comes from an incredible family. I think with her strength and power, there's really kind of the only words that do it justice. She's not the tallest cat. But she's stronger than anybody, or maybe even 2 people. And so getting her in space where she had room to just use her power was amazing. And then she could shoot the 3. She developed that with us. You're seeing it now with the Lynx. So, I'm just incredibly proud of her. And, she had a lot of, things stacked against her, and she's answered the bell. So I'm proud of her. I hope she does well today, but not that well.
Coach, Coach Reed has talked about that her offense right now is ahead of their defense. I was wondering how you would assess for your team where your offense is versus your defense.
Yeah, I think, at Golden State we were better defensively, but, we've got a ways to go. And I think offensively, it's peaks and valleys. Sometimes we look really good, and sometimes we look confused. And we just have to stick with it and just keep chopping wood about just understanding the spacing, the timing, and as they learn to play with each other better, they'll have better synergy out there, and you'll start to see it. So I think we're, and both sides of the ball, we obviously have a lot of room to improve, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
Back to Zoom, Briscoe Del Rosario.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Briscoe Del Rosario, Utah Women's Basketball Independent. Did you give a thought to retiring after Friday night?
I thought about it. I could go down in the Hall of Fame undefeated WNBA coach. I should have done it. It's too late now, Frisco.
And do you feel there might be a roster imbalance now that you're carrying 3 guards?
Is there a what?
Roster imbalance?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, we're down to 4. But we also have players, Emma Cannon can play the 3, Azrae Stevens can play the 3. We can go big, and we will when we need to. And we'll get Julie Alleman back soon. And so that will help a lot too. That will go from 4 to 5, and 5 guards is doable for sure. 4 is tough, but that's the way it is. We'll roll with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Last question in the room, then we'll finish on Zoom.
Justin Russo writes. Good to see you, Coach. Earlier you mentioned analytics. where have you seen the game evolve in your time in the game, in college and coming here? Where have you seen the game evolve the most? Is it in analytics, or is there anything else?
You mean analytically, where has it evolved?
No, is analytics the one area you've seen evolve the most in the game in your time in it, or is there something else that you've seen that's kind of grown more in that time?
Well, I think there's been a lot, but the players are bigger, faster, stronger. The athleticism is better. Their explosiveness, the way they're training and preparing their bodies and all the things is just advanced. Just that the science of performance, nutrition, and all the things that we know now that we didn't 20 years ago, I think has changed the game. But then the analytics piece is huge. I think it's a way to win the game within the game and just try to be really strategic in how you approach. You see that in the NBA and the WNBA, the spacing now, ideally everyone can shoot, it just three's more than two. So, you want to make sure you have people that can make the three. But I think the game is moving towards that and has been.
Last question on Zoom, Andrew Jones.
Thanks a lot, as always, Joshua. Andrew Jones, Believe Network. Coach, I want to ask you first about seeing Jessica Shepard and Diamond Miller, how they had their impact the other night for the Lynx and the challenges of stopping them, as well as the commemorative ball that you got from Reagan, that the glitziest ball that you received. And what do you plan to do?
Yes, I'll start with that one, yes. And Reagan even said, I know you're not much of a glam girl, but I think you're going to like this. And I was like, I do like this. I've got a secret glam to me. So that was very thoughtful, unexpected. And, I'm not in this to get attention for myself. I just want to compete. But it was nice gesture. The Sparks is it truly is a tight-knit group that looks out for each other and celebrates each other, and that was an example of that. So it's on our kitchen counter, and my boys last night were teasing me that they were going to dribble it, and I was freaking out. Don't! And they thought it was really funny, so I need to move it to the office. That's the moral of that story. In terms of the Lynx, yeah, Jess Shepard looks really good, and she's fit and strong, and she understands what they're trying to do. She's been great for them. So we have our hands full there, and same with Diamond. So their whole roster's good. I don't see at this point. I know they're not all fully back, but there's not many holes. And so to beat a team like that, you've got to be collectively really, really good and tough, and not get too high, not get too low, just stay steady. So again, much respect for them. But I believe in our team, and I'm excited to get out there and put a good fight together.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sparks fans, I know. The first game here didn't start as well as we expected, as they fall 89-75 to the Minnesota Lynx. But they fought against a team that's going to be fighting for a championship. Michael Matthew here with DJ Treacy Treese of the LA Sparks Weekly. DJ, what did you see? Because there was some positives from the Sparks. Yeah. Like, don't get it twisted. They did some good things, especially in this tough matchup.
Everything that I saw was positive, okay?
Not everything.
Listen, let me tell you, wait a minute. If you are online typing on your little keyboard, you're a hater.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, the Sparks just played a team who were in the WNBA Finals last year and completely stayed intact for the most part.
Yeah.
We have a new team, new coach, a lot of new things happening, a complete new system that we're learning. So, everything that we saw there was experiential, and it was good based off of the game that we saw from the Valkyries playing at a higher intensity level.
Yeah.
Now, what do we want to see more of? Probably some more physical play and a little bit more rebounding just on the defensive side. That's all I can ask for. But, again, my overall synopsis is what we saw was good stuff.
The T word was a key word we heard in the presser, toughness. Like, you saw a lot of play in there. Eventually, they cut the lead down to 2 points, but then they just got out-toughed. The Lynx looked like a team that wanted it more. They fought more and was willing to hit first, and it kind of came back to catch the sparks.
Yeah.
They couldn't really get into the tempo. Like that Valkyrie game,
Yeah.
tempo was great. They only had 5 fast break points in this game. Kelsey Plum, she finished with 18 and 5, which is impressive, but it wasn't 37 or 40
yeah.
that we was looking for. What did you see from the Lynx tonight that helped them kind of slow down this Sparks offense?
You know, I hate to be that one person, but I think the refs is in their pocket. Because I was here in the Crypto.com arena watching the game, and I thought a couple fights was going to break out. How far are we letting these fouls go?
It was physical, a physical game.
It was physical, but there was also, I feel like the no calls need to be balanced.
Yeah.
And I hate to kind of argue about the refs because it's like, all right, cool, the refs going to be the refs.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a lot of that toughness turned into a lot of just block shots that was fouls or different things, that jump balls that really was our way.
It was basketball that if you want to win in the playoffs,
we in the first game.
It's big. You know, we call it in the NBA. They call it big boy basketball. This is big girl basketball.
This is.
The Lynx are gonna bring that, so you gotta be ready to go. But we were talking about some positives.
Yep.
We just saw Coach walk by us back there looking fly. We got to talk about De'Erica and Azare because they both brought some good play. Azare leading the team with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 20 and 10.
Yeah.
Lady double-double herself. De'Erica did her thing. What did you like from them today as they battled up against Nafisha Collier?
I think the same two things that we liked about them last season, right?
Yeah.
They're always going to come into the game and play their A game. Mama D is a double-double queen, okay? I said that pregame. You can rewind this video if you want to. I was right.
Facts.
You know, De'Erica's going to come and give you everything that she got. Azare has been working on that three-point game. I talked to her in practice before it. We saw that exemplified tonight. 3 threes back-to-back had the whole Crypto.com arena going crazy.
Yeah,
so I
knocking
like
them
the
down.
fact that Azare and De'Erica are applying the same pressure they've always applied.
Yep.
Consistency.
Yeah, 14 early points for Azare, did her thing. But you're just going against the Lynx, man. They're one of the better teams in the W.
Probably the best right now, not even
They
lying.
were able to figure it out. But don't just listen to us. We got Coach, we got De'Erica Azare with the post-game presser.
Only scored 30 points in the second half. Why were there so many offensive struggles in the second half there?
I haven't seen the stats yet, so I think we just got really disjointed. Minnesota amped up their pressure, and we were a little bit disjointed and kind of got away from playing the way we want to play. And, you know, that synergy out there kind of went away, and we got some you know, tough calls, and maybe they were fouls, but they just didn't go our way. And so they're just like momentum just kind of shifted, and we just couldn't come up with like the collective chemistry to get going on offense. We missed a lot of good shots too, though, right? So it's not always how many points did we score, but how many good shots did we take? And I thought we took some good ones in the second half that we just missed. And, you know, but I don't think, you know, sometimes when your offense is struggling, you know, you can't just you got to give the other team some credit too. I thought they really defensively dialed it up. It was super physical. And, you know, that's kind of what happened.
Hi, Coach, right here. Did you see what happened on the play with Rickea Jackson, and also are there any updates that you can provide at this time?
Yeah, I saw it live. I haven't seen it back, but it was like a long rebound, loose ball, and a collision. And so she's being evaluated right now. We don't know anything else beyond that, so that's all I can tell you.
Hi, Coach. You talked a little bit before the game about kind of the lower number of guards you guys have available right now, and Sarah Ashley played extended minutes tonight. Can you talk about what you liked from her and kind of what her focus will be going into the next couple games with more minutes on the table for her?
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit thin in the guard line, but Essay did a good job. I mean, she's just fearless, and she also does what is required for running a play. She does her job. She crashes the boards. She plays hard defensively. I thought she did a really good job in ball screens defense. She was guarding Heidemann a lot. That she is quick, and I thought she got beat a couple times, but for the most part she did a good job. So it's just for her, just gaining confidence, continuing to grow, experience the speed and the physicality in the W. A month and a half ago she was playing in college, and so I think that's a tough transition, but she's handling it really, really well.
What about their off-ball movement and cutting kind of gave you guys some issues, particularly in the second half?
Well, I think you saw that they've played together for a long time, right? And so the cutting that we are going to get to and all of that is all timing based, and they're ahead of us in terms of where they're at offensively and defensively. They're at this stage when you have everybody back for the most, their key players back. And same coaches, you can start working on tweaking things rather than building your foundation. So they're ahead of the game in terms of where we are. So I think their timing was good, their cuts were good, and they knew it was happening, so they were able to hit them. And we'll get to that point too.
This is for De'Erica or Azare. Of course, it's tough to find positives in the loss, but you guys were able to be very productive today. What did you guys see out there today against the Lynx?
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is super talented, 1 through 12.
When they get there.
Yeah, when we get there. And so it's going to be anybody's game any night. We saw KP, what she did the last game, and then me and Z, and Rickea is capable of doing that. So I think it's just going to be what works, what the other team's defensive scheme is, and what's working for us. So it was me and Z tonight. Next game, it'll probably be somebody else.
Hey y'all, DJ from Infinity TV. I actually found some positives from tonight, and I'm gonna direct this question.
Okay, DJ. Bring it out, DJ. Let's go.
I am going to direct this question to Azare. We talked about your three-point shooting. Can you talk about how this matchup was actually advantageous for you because you were on a hot streak?
Yeah, I mean, I think our guards just came out really aggressive attacking, and then they were sucking in every time, and they were just spraying the ball, and I was just being confident. So I think, like I said last game, obviously it's new, we're learning Coach Lynn's system, but I think that's to our advantage any night. Teams are going to sag in when we have people attacking downhill, and then we can just kick it out and be confident from the three. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Azare, this one's also for you. I'm going to kind of piggyback on that. You were so hot in the first quarter, 14 points. They kind of slowed you down. What happened in that they slowed you down? And then, Coach, for you, you said you want to be competitive. This felt very competitive. Watching it, did it feel competitive for you as well?
Yeah, I think they just ratcheted up their pressure, and we kind of all took a step back. So we got to find a way to just fight through that when teams pressure us and stop their physicality from that lens.
And yeah, it did feel competitive.
Yeah.
I thought we were right there, and then they went on like an 8-0 run, and suddenly it went from, I think we cut it to 4, and then suddenly it was 12.
Right.
And that's very different. And we've got to. I think we've got to be mentally tougher to handle. Everybody's good in this league. The margin for error is so small. You cannot let what happened in the last possession affect the current one, and that's where we've got to get better as a group, and just that next play mentality. Doesn't matter if I miss, if I get I get fouled and they don't call it, they call a foul on me that isn't, like, it's next play, and that's where I think we've got some growth to do there. But I have no doubt we've got great leadership, great veterans. You're looking at 2 of them here. They'll get everybody on the same page, and we're 2 games in. I'm not stressed like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, but we do have to get tougher. If we don't get tougher, then it gets more concerning. But again, I trust these guys, and I know they want what I want. They want to win, and so it'll happen.
Coach, during these first 2 games, you've had a total of 8 points off the bench. What can you do to get some more production from them? I noticed the first 2 games, you essentially played 7 players, especially this one.
We need to get healthy. We don't have a lot of depth there. There's not a lot of, it's not like I'm choosing, to not play Rakia in the second. She was hurt. Like, I'd love to put Ray in. She's on crutches. Like, we get Julie Allemon back soon. That'll help. But, and again, we're figuring things out in terms of rotations and all this stuff, and we'll keep evaluating that. But I would really love to play more players.
All right. What's going on, Coach? Can you talk about just regarding the eye test again? Can you talk about just what did you see today as far as like offensively, and the fact that as a Ray she was knocking down threes and things of that nature? Can you talk about what did you see from her today?
Yeah, I thought Z has been playing really well from training camp till today. I think she's benefiting from the spacing, but she's really smart, and so she understands when to cut, where to cut, when to float down to get those kick-out threes. I think it's a really good system for her strengths. But beyond that, like, she's playing her tail off defensively and rebounding. I don't know how many rebounds she got, but felt like a lot. 6?
Only 6.
She got robbed. That's bad. That's bad
I tipped a few out.
But she's just everywhere, flying out. I think she's playing really, really well. But again, I think it comes down to the spacing and then her really understanding when and how to move and cut and shoot.
Charlotte Moore, FI360. Coach, you talked about execution earlier. How did you think about the execution coming out of bounds and out of the quarters? What did you think? I know it's right there.
Next question. She's not happy about it. I'll answer.
We can improve. And we will. And we will.
Last 2 questions.
Excuse me. Coach, you aforementioned that the team will get tougher.
Yeah.
And De'Erica, the second part is for you. That's a championship caliber team that you played.
Yeah.
And in the third quarter, the toughness is kind of separated. How do you coach toughness? And De'Erica, your game is predicated and built upon toughness. How do you encourage and incite that or instill and incite that level of toughness in your teammates?
I'll go first. I think, it's something that you can't just say, like, let's be tough, and then okay. Like, you have to develop it. And it comes from, I think De'Erica's one of the toughest players in the league. I mean, without a doubt. And so it's highlighting those examples when it's shown, and then highlighting examples when it's not. And it has to be a constant drip of this is what it looks like. And today what I saw was just when things didn't go our way, like I mentioned, we kind of looked visibly frustrated. And not only is that not going to help you as a player, the other team, believe me, they notice that too. And when you're playing a championship level team and they see some frustration, they see some cracks, they're going to step on your throat. And that's, I thought, what happened. And it's a learning process. And so I'm not freaking out, I'm not panicking, but we got to get tougher.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I think for me, I just got to continue to keep leading by example, and when those moments happen, still be that example, because obviously it's natural to kind of, I guess, fade back a little bit, but just continuing to lead by example.
Coach, as I mentioned, getting into the paint, getting them in a rotation. For your offense specifically, how important is it for you that the guards are getting 2 feet in the paint, drawing extra help, getting defenses into rotation where you are getting the kind of shots that you want to get? And how do you preach that to them to not get kind of overwhelmed by ball pressure defense that can deny that?
Yeah. It's like you're in our practice. That's exactly what we want to try to do.
Don't tell everybody.
Yeah, don't. That's a secret. You're in the safe zone here, right? Yeah, that's what we need to do. And I think, you have to be confident as an offensive player to attack against pressure. Confidence comes from putting the work in. It's not a what you had for lunch, or you can't just tell yourself, I'm going to be confident now. You got to put the work in. But we have the ability to do it. We have the talent to do it, the skill talent. It's just the mindset. Like if someone's up on you, you're not going to take it. You're going to take it at them. That's how you beat pressure. And we got a little bit on our back foot. But again, it's a learning game, and you know, our job is to learn from what we can and get ready for, I don't know when we play next, Wednesday. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that is what we want to do. Attack, kick, spray it out, hit the roller, whatever, you know, hit a nice pull up or take it all the way to the basket. So yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate it. I know.
We're done.
I kind of like that.
So we're back. We just heard from Coach Roberts. We heard from Azare and De'Erica. And they're kind of like, hey, we got 42 more games. This one loss isn't too much, but we got to learn from it because, like we've been saying, this is a team that has a chance to be there at the end. Toughness. How could, like Coach kind of talked about it, but what do you see? How could the team get better with their toughness?
I think it's just the little things, right? Like hustling for the ball, you know, committing to the play, going back up strong, boxing out and like being like really boxing out and going up for that rebound. So I think once the little things come together, we won't even be having these same discussions. As far as the intensity of how we play, I think that's also going to get better because we just lost the home opener. So that pressure of like losing that first game, that'll be able to carry us through into multiples.
And it sucks because the team is dealing with injuries. Coach talked about it like, hey, I just don't have enough healthy players. But in the first 2 games, only 8 total points from the second unit. Sarah Ashley Barker got more minutes on tonight
love that for
you
her.
expect. But she looks good. Like, she looks like a solid player. We saw Mercedes out there. Like, that second unit, even though it might be 2 or 3 players, they have to try to find a way to do a little more to help out because it's a long season and it's going to be tough if they don't show up to play. But, you know, the Sparks fought. They tried to do everything they could do, but the Lynx were just the better team tonight. Before we leave, we always got you. We start the game telling you who we think is going to shine bright. We got to give a player of the game. DJ, who is your player of the game for tonight's tough loss to the Lynx?
I'm going to keep it locked. Mama D, De'Erica Hamby, always bet on De'Erica. I know that the stats say that Azare is a player of the game. I gave Azare a lot of accolades in the press conference. De'Erica's consistency continues to astonish me, y'all. She is nasty. She is a dog. De'Erica Hamby is my player of the game.
I guess I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Azare Stevens. Shooting from deep, that opens up everything for everybody else. So if Azare can continue to keep that going, we're going to see games where she's going to have a chance to get 30 points, make about 6 to 7 threes because she's getting wide open looks. That's when you have a Kelsey Plum, you get that opportunity. Hopefully we can see some more from Odyssey because then that's even more open shots for Azare. But Azare Stevens knocking down the deep ball, leading the team in scoring. They did their thing, but they're going to be at it Wednesday. They're going to fly there to Phoenix to face off against the Mercury. We are going to be in studio live streaming. Make sure you guys tap in, check it out, tell everybody you know. You're going to see us and some guests showing up there in the studio to live stream the game. Sparks Mercury on Wednesday. Michael Matthew, DJ Treacy Treats, LA Sparks Weekly. We'll see you next time.